Yep.
That's all.
Good morning and welcome to the Tuesday, December 23rd, 2025 Eidelweiss Board of Commissioners meeting. It's 9 a.m. We're calling the meeting to order. The first thing we do is approve the agenda. I'll make a motion to discuss and approve the agenda.
Second. Good morning.
Good morning.
Jeff will not be here for the DBW report. We'll discuss whether Ian should be on the agenda for the upcoming meetings in January. No scheduled appearances, and we will have a non-public session.
Okay. Yes.
Give you a chance to look at that. Do you have any modifications you'd like to make to the agenda?
Nope.
No.
How do you vote?
Aye.
3-0. At 9:01, we move to approval of the minutes of December 16th. I'll make a motion to discuss and approve these minutes.
Second.
Discussion.
I got a few things.
Okay.
Take it away.
Okay. All right, so under the DPW report, bullet point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think it's 8. But it says the commissioners and the DPW staff visited the Ossipee DPW and looked at their Western Star. Western Star is two different words, Western Star, and then maybe just add 6-wheel truck. Because that's
Okay.
essentially, we looked at other trucks, but that was essentially the one we were interested in looking at.
And it's okay to say truck, nothing else, just
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that's fine.
six-wheel truck, yep.
That's fine. Then the very final bullet point, you say mobile app. App is abbreviation for application, but everywhere you see it in the common language these days, it's APP as opposed
Gotcha.
to AP. And then you repeat that again down on underwater. The 5th bullet
Yep.
point, Ian will try and install the new mobile phone system app. Just change that to APP.
Okay,
Okay, then.
Do you want to carry that paper when you're done?
Yeah, sure. Then, under the water system again, I'm on the second page, so it's bullet point number 8, I think.
yeah,
It says a connection for a generation. You meant generator. Yep. Generator. Then the next point, our engineer continues to work on finalizing the specs for the Muddy Beach uranium. You say mediation, should be remediation system.
remediation,
Or filtration system, I don't care, but not, it's definitely
Filtration.
not,
Okay,
definitely
thank
not
you.
mediation. You prefer filtration?
Yeah.
Okay, then say
Okay,
filtration instead of
gotcha.
mediation.
yeah,
Under my report, second bullet point again, that Western Star, just
Yep.
separate that into 2 words. Then under Doug Prescott's appearance, maybe just to clarify that a little, when you say legislation changes to election procedures, it's specifically related for mail-in ballots. So maybe add for mail-in ballots, because that's what it was all about. And then the final bullet point under the EPOA, the very last sentence, you just love partitioned. It's petition warrant article.
Told you I was gonna do it again.
As opposed to yeah, I know you're testing us. Petition warrant article, 2026 petition warrant article. Okay, that's it.
thank you.
I'm good with those.
Yeah,
All in favor of approving the minutes with those modifications?
Aye.
Aye.
3-0. At 9:04, we move to manifests. First one we have is an operations and payroll manifest for $22,114.63. I'll make a motion to discuss and approve this manifest.
Second.
Discussion.
Looked pretty normal.
Any key items you want to highlight in this one?
No. A lot of the end of the year, winter type of supplies, yep, that makes sense.
Fuel, salt, sand, print advertising for water system announcements, chains for the backhoe, mileage reimbursements for the the trip to Ossipee,
Mhm.
and other parts for the plow blades. All in favor of approving this manifest?
Aye.
Aye.
3-0 on this. At 9:05, we move to the water manifest for $24,091 even.
Mhm.
We'll make a motion to discuss and approve this manifest.
Second.
Discussion. The big one here is a $20,000 bill for a contract that the previous board signed almost 3 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
where we had a grant for $25,000, or they got a grant for $25,000 and they blew it. And now we're paying outright for this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's for a upgrade to the computer, because the computer that we were running the water system on was obsoleted by Microsoft quite a while ago, and it was not very secure against the bad guys on the internet.
Mhm.
Right.
This has all been done. The question I have is about getting the historical data off the old system. If you remember, Ian thought it was very important that we get the SCADA system records all of the data that it collected over years, and he uses that to see trends of what's happening with the water system, to let him diagnose if there's something going wrong by water usage or electrical use, and I'm asking you whether we should hold this check until we verify that the historical data has been put on the new system, transferred from the old system. And the only way we know that is to ask Ian to look at it.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you follow him?
Yeah, oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah, no, we need that data, and it seems to me it's a pretty straightforward process to
They
get.
knew about it and they agreed they were doing that. I
Right.
just don't
Right.
know whether that's been, I
Okay.
think he copied all the data off of the old system, which is still in the office unplugged. I just don't know whether he put it on the new one. He said that would take quite a while to do it,
Mhm.
so.
So are we asking that we withhold payment till they put it on the new system, or verify that we actually have a physical copy that can be accessed at any time in any
Yeah.
manner?
Through Ian. I wanna verify, through Ian, that he's able to access that
I think he
data.
can do that without coming to the office too.
Correct.
Yes, he can do it. He
So
can.
it shouldn't take him long to tell us whether he sees the historical data.
Okay.
Too bad we didn't think to ask
Yep.
him last time, but we didn't talk about any of this
There was a
stuff.
lot of other pressing
stuff,
things
yes.
on, but, okay, yeah.
So I
So-
guess we'll hold the check, and we can vote to release it as soon as we hear back from
Ian.
Ian.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so
So-
do you wanna sign it and I'll hold it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So all in favor of this manifest, say aye.
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 3-0. I'm gonna hold the check until we verify the data.
Yep.
So we'll move to number 4 on the agenda is DPW at 9:08. They're getting ready for a snowstorm to happen starting around 12 today, I think, was the
Yep,
last time I
this
heard.
afternoon.
Scheduled to start early
Yeah, we-
afternoon.
A day ago, I heard it was supposed to end at 7, now they're talking about 12, and Roy in the radio says we could get up to 7 inches now. So, we'll see what happens with that.
Mhm.
Yay.
And he sent his work completed and goals for next week.
Yes.
At 9:09, we'll move to commissioners' reports, and I'll start off. We contacted the DRA and explained the story of our previous auditor, telling us to not bother looking for a new auditor, that the CPA market is saturated with customers, and we can waste our time trying to talk to an auditing firm. And then it suggested to use the alternative under New Hampshire state law, which is to have a locally elected auditor, is the phrase that the RSA's call out. That's the term that's used, locally elected auditor. So I think we should probably have a vote that we wanna move in that direction. And also, I took a look at the RSA's and I took a look at the New Hampshire Municipal Association website. It's not clear to me exactly how you do this at the annual meeting yet. the RSA states that there's a vote at the annual meeting to go to a locally elected auditor.
Hmm.
It also seems to say, in the same meeting, you vote for the locally elected auditor. So I don't know if it's one warrant article that approves the idea of the locally elected auditor, and then the candidates are elected on the floor, as opposed to the ballot. So we have time to nail this down, but a quick
Okay.
glimpse at this the write-ups didn't make it clear how to do this. And the guy that responded to us from the DRA could probably answer those questions, or the New Hampshire Municipal Association. So I might draft an email to the Municipal Association to see if they can just answer right off. That's kind of what they do. And that would be an independent person, so I think once we get that answer, we should announce that we're doing this, because every registered voter in the village district should have the opportunity to decide whether they want to become a locally elected auditor. The RSA's also say that you can either have one person do it, or you can have a number of people do it. And the RSA doesn't care how many people you have doing it.
Really?
Does the RSA specify what sort of qualifications?
No,
Nope.
Wow.
it specifies that they must complete the state forms that go along with the locally elected auditor. There's also a requirement that at the end of the fiscal year, which is coming up in the next 2 weeks, that 10 days after the fiscal year ends, that the auditor sends another type of form to the state, a preliminary form of some type. And I want to contact the DRA about if you don't have an auditor at the end of the fiscal year. No one has audited anything to do with 2025, because they always do the previous year. The
Yes.
auditor just finished 2024 a month ago.
Right.
So I'll follow up on that.
Yeah.
And I guess I'll make a motion to see if the board agrees that this is the direction we're gonna go in. So I'll make a motion that we vote to pursue electing a locally elected auditor for the Village District of Eidelweiss in 2026.
Second.
Second.
Discussion.
No discussion. We know that trying to find a CPA firm it will be chasing our tail on that.
Mm-hmm.
They're all booked out flat, and a lot of them don't even do municipal type work, so I think this is a sensible way to go.
I know that a CPA I know won't touch it, because the insurance that an auditor of municipalities has to have is steep and different from what a normal CPA business does,
Right.
which is why maybe one of the reasons they charge so much.
Yeah.
So any other discussion on that? Let's take a vote.
Aye.
3-0 on
Yep.
pursuing a locally elected auditor. Friday, I met with the engineer from DuBois and King at the Muddy Beach Pump House, and he had a gentleman from a company in Manchester who specializes in uranium systems. And I got his business card and I emailed it to the office, and I carbon copied on you guys on that. I know you see so many emails,
Nice
but I
one.
wanted you guys to capture all the information so you can pursue that if you have to.
So what was this person, what's his,
Nick brought him in because he wasn't getting answers from the supplier that the water operator used to give Nick the specifications. The state is asking Nick
Yeah.
questions about the design. Nick needed to go to the vendor of the equipment who's not responding to him, so he called another vendor who came to the site and started answering questions. And I think this company has done 20 uranium systems this year. So
they supply material?
they'll do everything.
Wow, okay,
How much is not known yet.
okay.
One of the interesting things I hadn't heard in our adventure into uranium systems that this gentleman said Friday was that the cylinders that have the resin in it that captures the uranium that's coming out of the water in the well and filters it out before it goes into the storage tanks to get booster pumped up to Rhineac and the rest of the system, can be replaced before the uranium content is high and the cylinders become radioactive and therefore become very expensive to get rid of them.
Right,
And there's one company in Connecticut that deals with a facility in Tennessee, I think we heard. It must be part of the Tennessee Valley Authority, because that's the big power thing in Tennessee that's controversial because it's run by the government, the federal government. Anyway, the thing he said that caught our interest was, if you replace the cylinders before they've captured so much filtration uranium that they don't become that radioactive, you can save a lot of money, because if you just run it and run it and run it, and then you have to get rid of these vessels that have a lot of uranium in them, and that's where you spend money. He said, if you change them, you can just throw them away without paying for a specialized company to handle the highly contaminated cylinders.
Is there some kind of like meter or something that tells you what the the REMs or whatever you want to call them, where you're at, so you can track that and know, okay, this is the time we need to replace them, instead of letting it peg to the red line?
I think that can be calculated
oh, based on usage.
based
Based on usage?
based on the measurements that we've been getting, which we just tickled that line, and we tickled it once too often crossing over. They made us decide that now, after all these years of detecting uranium, that we have to put this expensive system in. So, on one hand, you're buying a lot more vessels. We know that the Rockhouse Mountain facility put a uranium system in, because they're sucking water out of the same underground vein as Muddy Beach does. It's a downhill alignment for their new well. 100% of the water that they use goes through the uranium filtration system, which they put in 7 years ago. And they never changed any of the vessels, and they didn't see, the day we visited them, that they had a need to in the foreseeable future.
Wow.
Right,
And we don't intend on running Muddy Beach.
often enough,
I think we're gonna run it a lot less than Rockhouse is running theirs.
yes.
But I think that this is all calculated out. It's just a point of interest. I think Nick hadn't heard that people changed the cartridges out to avoid the expensive disposal
Yeah.
of the highly contaminated vessels.
Wow.
But uranium's a big problem in this part of New Hampshire, the whole middle of the state. I have a map that shows the likelihood of uranium
Jeez.
being hit by a well, and we're in an area where,
We're fortunate we have DPW1, that's never, since
right,
I've been around.
that's in the aquifer,
Yeah,
and away from where we're in the same vein that
Right.
Rockhouse is in. But ours is a backup system, theirs is their primary
primary
system.
Right.
Yeah.
right.
Wow.
So, be interested to see how they come up with that calculation, because we know over the last year, or 4 quarters of testing, we exceeded the upper limits of uranium on 2 of those quarters, but we were below it on 2. So it's a moving target.
Nick talked about that with this guy, and he said that it could be a long time before you guys are getting rid of the cartridges, but he suggested, so, once he was there collecting data and measuring, and Nick gave him his current design and the questions that he has to answer for the state.
Okay, good.
Which, at the time we were talking about it, talking about Rockhouse Mountain, quite a while ago, I think we got an email from a lady at Rockhouse Mountain asking if we had data on the old Eidelweiss lots that they have
Yes,
now in there.
correct.
Did we ever respond to her?
I did. I said that I'm not aware that we have.
Because you and I talked about whether we
Yes.
had the
Right.
cards for
Right.
the old one, and I think the village gave them all the old cards.
We
when
gave
they
them the
came.
old cards,
That
when
was
we
in
did the,
That was in 1980, I think.
Yeah.
yeah, and then the last connection was in the 2000s, that was, coming out of Muddy Beach. That was on a rock house lot.
There was one
and-
house we were obligated on delivering water to that
I
was done
see.
as a bizarre agreement.
Yeah.
Correct, and that was the one that we were able to, finally close off, and they have been moved to the Rock House system at this point. And that was the last one. All the others are
Okay.
all been changed.
Alright. Nick has not heard back from the state DES on what we can do with the current design for the Grissom culvert solution, whether we need to do a full environmental impact redesign, or whether we can resubmit the currently approved design, just changing the culvert
Right.
design itself, but
Right.
not the whole environment that goes into it. And New Hampshire Emergency Services, Homeland Security, which handles the FEMA grants for us financially, is helping Nick try to get that answer from DES, and I don't think he's heard from them. And I wanted to get a hold of Holly Evans this week, but I didn't do that. I'll talk to her, try to talk to her
It's a
next
hard
week.
week too.
Yeah. So I don't know whether that's moving along or not. We've gotta keep pushing these things,
Yeah.
we were hoping to have all these things
I
done.
know.
Yeah.
I did send the
Bureaucratic
design for the Como PRV to the Burnham Company.
Good.
And I'll follow up with him after the new year. I don't think I wanna cut into the holiday time. In the canoe racks that were discussed last week with Doug, did we ever get any kind of complaint about the canoe racks at Eidelweiss Beach from the people that
What, the
used?
state of them?
Well,
Yeah, there was some talk about the fact that they're in a real swampy area,
Yeah,
but
that's
we
it.
saw,
but
we saw that somebody just on their own laid down pallets as a
Mhm. Right.
solution.
Yes.
yes, and therefore,
No issue.
right, I don't think I ever heard of somebody that actually was assigned those canoe racks saying that they had a problem with it. It's kinda like,
No.
are we trying to keep people's feet dry who are at the beach? Here's what I think.
Okay,
I would like to see the energy go into fixing the rafts, which got expensive paint put on them 2 years ago?
23. We repainted them in 23, and that was the whole new mooring system that
So
Doug
this
designed.
coming year will be the third year that they've been relaunched.
I think there's been some touch-up since, but yeah, the major painting was 3 years ago.
I looked at the one at Geneva Beach, and the paint's coming off in a big way, but I also noticed screws coming up, and I see that as a bigger issue than anything to do with canoe racks. I'd like to see the energy go to making those racks, those rafts, swim floats, I guess is what we call them.
Yeah, we know there's a lot more emotional connection to the swim rafts than there are to the canoe racks.
Well,
'cause-
ripping your foot, having a kid rip their foot open on
Yeah.
a raft is a lot more serious
Oh,
than
oh, absolutely.
stepping in on damp ground to pull your canoe
Absolutely.
off and then launch it into the water. So I think if they wanna do a pressure treated planks under the canoe racks, he said that he didn't know whether the canoe racks with their pressure treated posts were suffering being in the ground at all. I see no evidence of that. They've been there for many years, none of them have fallen down. If anything, it's the cross members that get abused.
Right.
But if people have the energy to wanna solve a problem that I don't see being a high priority, I see the rafts being somewhere where they can really come up with a solution. I don't know whether that's using a different way to fasten the top boards on, like they do in decks where they have multiple mechanisms for not putting screws straight down through the top that rise
Right.
back up.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll write an email to, if you're okay with that, I'll write an email to Doug asking him to think about focusing on rafts, swim floats. I'll see what he thinks about that.
Yeah, I mean, he was the one who successfully pushed through the $2,500 petition warrant article back in the annual meeting of '23 versus the $25,000 the commissioners wanted to spend on all new rafts.
Right. I
And that
see.
worked out very well.
Mhm.
So he's in a very good position to evaluate their current condition and what may be done to repair them.
Can I comment about the
Sure.
lamps?
Yeah.
I snorkeled under all of them, and all,
Yeah.
the paint is coming off and it's all underneath the wraps.
Yeah,
So whatever was put on last time just didn't stay.
It was expensive deck paint, if I remember. It was supposed to have a grittiness to it so that it wasn't slippery.
Right.
And they did a lot of work. They weren't easy to paint because they weren't hot. They were hard to maneuver.
oh, yeah.
So I don't know if they can come up with another way of doing this.
All right, well,
So I'll write an email.
yeah.
Yep.
Let Doug see if he can tackle the problem. He's very good at
I'll copy the
that.
office and you guys on it so you can see it. You just can't comment on it. And that's all I have for today.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to the uranium issue and,
Oh.
before.
Yesterday we were asked to reload the emergency kits at the garage with Band-Aids.
Yes,
We have these, I think they were put in years ago, these big boxes, the
Yes.
first aid.
Yeah, and they got, oh, that was for their trucks.
Now I think it has antiques in it.
No, it's
that-
in the DPW itself. It's just,
Yeah,
the,
just whatever it is.
was it Tony or someone cut their finger and they went to put a Band-Aid on and it was like.
Well, I
the
don't know
Band-Aid,
anything
as he's,
about it.
no, I know you
No,
don't,
tell-
I know you, we're telling you.
We didn't either.
He basically said, oh, those are Band-Aids are 100 years old. Okay, they're
So
not
they
100 years
need
old, but they're
They
old.
need a stock of Band-Aids,
Yeah,
like
they-
different
they-
sizes and stuff?
Yeah, you can ask
Yes.
them.
Yeah,
It just needs a fresh supply, so you can ask them exactly what they want.
yeah,
What's
I'll
that?
ask if they require other stuff in it
I'll
too,
make a
because the
motion that we
ointments
approve a
might be
budget up
old and
to-
everything.
How many dollars for her to just do it, because we want them in there quickly.
It won't be much, I'm sure.
I don't know, $30? What does it cost for a bunch of Band-Aids?
2 garages, I'm assuming
2 garages,
$50.
All right,
yeah, 50,
Motion to
okay,
approve up to
motion,
50.
yeah,
second,
Aye.
aye.
3-0.
okay.
Now you pick up.
Okay, getting back to the uranium issue. Jennifer, when you contacted me with the reporting problem last Friday, I apologize. I had an under-the-weather day, and my brain was just not working as
Yeah.
normal. I
Yeah.
think what happened is the paperwork I gave you last week for submission was the report that was from the prior reporting period. So I think this is the one we
It was
sent.
from Q1,
Right, that's the one we sent out in the most latest mailing.
yes,
And that's what they want, right?
no,
No, then, see, I still don't understand.
no. I sent you, again, all of you, the correct form that needed to be done, it's just shows uranium and it shows Q2 and Q3. This is what you submitted for Q1 and used again in this mailing.
No, hold on, let me have that for a moment. Okay,
All right,
what I have here is this was Q3, okay? This is the annual average, which
Right.
was from
You- so you
Q4
only-
2024.
You only completed Q3. The form that you should have used, which was sent, had both Q2 and Q3 on it. So we're compliant with the Q3, we are not compliant with Q2.
Okay,
because
there
it's the wrong form.
okay, there was another sheet, yes, that had the 4 quarters, but this is the sheet they want reported on, used for reporting. So I just need to add another number in
That
here.
was the incorrect sheet for this past mailing. You used Q1, you used the sheet that was supplied in the Q1.
Okay, I'll tell you what, I think I know what you mean, but I'll come in and talk to you personally about
That's the
this to
way
get
to
it
do it.
squared away.
Yep.
So
With
we,
the sheets
I
out.
sent you.
Okay.
I know you did, but I told you last Friday, I couldn't comprehend anything.
Okay,
And, I haven't had a chance to look at it.
right.
And it's
So
better,
I just.
since you seem to have a hand on it, I'm gonna come talk to you directly off.
It still doesn't solve the issue. The issue is now, it seems that we have to do another mailing to satisfy the Q2.
So let him go to the office and see what you're talking about.
All
And
right.
then take it from
How
there.
about, I'll take it for an
Nancy, do you
action,
understand what I'm coming from? Okay.
but in Q2, because we were, hold on, I know I'm belaboring this. In Q2, because we did not exceed the level, the upper limit level, we didn't have to do a report for Q2.
We do.
We do.
We do,
They didn't tell
because
us.
About this.
they do it by 4 quarters,
Correct.
not that specific test. So we have had hits in the last prior 4 quarters. So we have to announce that. And it's a DES thing,
It is, and I questioned it, and I got a response from them that went into detail as to what it
Right.
was and why.
right, but it comes down
So you just
to,
need to
you
revote
have to do
that.
it quarterly,
Okay, then.
and we did have a hit.
I'll take responsibility for this, but when the Q2 test came by and it was fine,
No,
I didn't
It
see.
has nothing to do with that. It has to do with prior violations.
That cover 4 quarters.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
but the point is, we saw the test, it was okay for that quarter, and I don't recall seeing any follow-up paperwork saying we still have to do a mailing. So, I must have missed something somewhere, I'll take responsibility for it. But I was unaware of that, totally, I thought we only reported when the quarter, and then the running average was the running average. Okay, all
This
right.
is all for a system that we're not sending one
I
drop of this
know,
water
I
into the
know,
system.
it's
Right.
unfortunate, but
Wow.
right, which is crazy.
Well, this is crazy that we have to do it every quarter if we exceed the upper level limit for 4 quarters, but that's what they want.
Just one out of the 4 quarters is what you're saying, huh?
Yes,
Well, no, wait a minute, no, hold on. Let's take that hypothetical example, so I'm perfectly clear. Let's say, we had 2 quarters that exceeded the upper limits and 2 that did not. If the average of those 4 quarters still fell below 30 UL, then we shouldn't have to report.
but it didn't.
it didn't.
In this case, it didn't.
So therefore, we have to report.
Well,
Okay.
he's just getting more
On-
specific about
Yeah.
what I just
Yeah,
said.
so
Yes.
as time goes on and we're in the clear, we won't have to do this.
Okay.
Right.
As long as the 4 quarter average is below the upper limits and the latest test.
Well,
Did not
until we
exceed.
get the filtration system installed, there's a risk that we continually have to do
I
this.
know, don't say
Correct.
that.
Even though we're not sending a drop of water into the
I
system.
know,
know.
it's crazy.
Yes.
It's crazy. Because
It's
we've,
$500 a mailing.
over the last year, we've already we've sent out, I think this was our 3rd notification on uranium since I've been involved in this project over the last year.
Yes, I think you're right.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
know,
Yes.
I get it.
I'm glad you're doing this.
Yeah. All right. Then the other thing, last Wednesday I traveled to Portland to visit our treasurer in the hospital rehab center and to get the needed bank signatures on those documents so everybody can sign the checks now. And I just want to say we wish her well, and hopefully we'll see her back soon.
Nancy,
Working on the report, my report. The one with all the motions, the motion report, and I will have that for next week.
Okay.
Motion log.
Motion
Yes,
log,
the motion
yeah.
log, for next week, and then we will, also wanna see some financial stuff if
Not
we
next
can.
week.
Not next week?
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right, cause I'd like to see the year end.
It's a short
Um,
week again, so.
Okay, so we'll move that into sometime in early January.
Yep.
All right,
and next week will be the last regularly scheduled meeting of the fiscal year.
Correct.
yes.
So anything that we have to take care of, and I think we've covered everything that
I think we've covered everything, but I'll double check.
Very good. All set then?
Yep.
And at 9:34, we'll move to water system, and the discussion on this is whether we see any reason to tell Ian that we want to have him come in January at this point. We don't have any projects going on.
Yeah, the only thing
Yeah.
that's outstanding is the mobile app that he needs to get on his phone.
Which he
Well-
wants to do, and he's not gonna do that by coming to a meeting here.
Right.
Correct.
So there are no blatant reasons to say that he should schedule himself for next month.
Right,
Nothing pressing. There's
No.
always stuff we can
Something
talk
come up
about.
I
with
mean,
a change
yeah.
here.
of course.
We don't know anything right now. So on 7 scheduled appearances, we have none, and administrators report. We have candidacy filing dates.
Yeah, I want to get an idea of like when I should start doing postings in the Conway Daily Sun to begin with the
10 days before the
actual date?
before the dates.
Gotcha.
And it'll start with it's 10 days from the day that people can put their names in,
Which
Yep.
is the 12th of January.
the 12th of
Yes,
January,
correct.
so
Yep.
it'll be early January.
10 days before the 12th?
Yep,
All right, great. And it's the same with the budget hearing
yes,
and annual meeting.
yeah, we do the one posting that lists everything right then and there at the beginning of January, and then everything else, we'll be doing follow-up, postings,
Oh, gotcha.
but not necessarily more in the paper.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you mean like public announcement
Right.
type stuff and postings, yeah.
Right.
All right, great, thank you.
All set in your report?
Yeah, I just needed to clear that up.
So now at 9:36, we move to old business. Update Minuteman press quote from 388 to 449.12.
Yep,
And that's
Yes,
to print envelopes
Yep.
for absentee ballots.
yeah, the
Which is what-
envelope was two-sided. And we neglected to realize that, so in ordering the printing, of course, you gotta pay for the backside of the envelope,
right,
which is more money. So, Doug is looking for us to,
90,
for you guys to make a motion to
it's
allow
like-
the extra.
$60 more to put it on the backside.
Correct.
mhm,
I'll make a motion that we approve a quote of $449.12 on
Printing
a
of-
Form A
Yeah.
envelope for 2 sides,
second,
All right,
aye,
3-0.
Okay, great.
All set on that? At 9:37, we move to signature items and mileage reimbursement requests.
Mm-hmm. So I've got 3 of them, one's for you, one's for Jeff, and one's for Tony.
So you just need my signature, you don't need a motion on this, do you? Or do you?
No, I just need your
'Cause it'll
signatures,
be in,
so,
it's in the manifest that we're about to
right there,
too.
and then Nancy signs
see.
in what yeah,
Motion to sign reimbursement?
sure, we can,
yeah, and they're included in this manifest
Yep.
this week.
Well, there's one of them.
Sign away.
So then at 9:38, we have no correspondence
Well, we've got one more thing,
under signature items?
yes,
The
please.
driveway ordinance.
Correct,
yes,
It's been 10 days since we had the hearing.
it's been
So
over.
by the statutes, we now can vote to approve this and sign this new version of the driveway ordinance.
correct.
I'll make a motion to approve and sign this driveway ordinance. which-
Second,
Any discussion on this?
No.
How do you vote?
aye,
aye,
and we also need to sign the, sheriff's
agreement.
agreement upstairs notarized.
Isn't that next week?
Oh, that's next week, sorry,
Yes.
okay,
So that should be a vote that happens at the meeting, and then when we adjourn from the meeting, I'll recess it, we'll go upstairs and have it notarized that we're signing it.
Yep.
right,
So, can you make a note to have that on the agenda so that
course.
we make sure that we vote on it during the meeting?
Yep.
Okay, so now at 9:39, we'll go to public comments. Any public comments?
I have
Yes.
a question.
Go ahead.
Is it possible to get rid of the abandoned and recently vandalized truck located at 18 Oak Ridge Drive?
We can't do that, but since you asked me that question a few weeks ago,
At the sign lighting party. I figured
That's
I'd
a-
ask you officially.
is it parked in 18
It's on private property.
Oh, it
Yes.
is.
You
And
see it every time you drive
you
past.
can have one unregistered vehicle, I think, last time I saw the ordinances, which was decades ago for, I don't know if Madison has updated them. Used to be that you couldn't have a junkyard,
Right.
and there was a number of unregistered vehicles before you crossed over and violated the Madison ordinance. I don't know what the Madison ordinance has changed since that. So, I don't know, we don't have any authority to do that. I'm trying to point you towards where you'd start with the town.
Sure, okay, I'll talk to the town.
And
I mean, it's been ugly for a long time,
I
but
don't know
now,
if it's a hazard
now
with the
it's really
windshield
ugly.
broken out of it and whether it's gonna attract bad things by the way it's spray painted. It kinda looks like sections of Boston I used to have to go into
yeah.
in the 70s.
So it was vandalized and stuff too?
Yeah.
Yeah,
huh?
the windows
Yeah.
were broken, spray painted all over it.
Oh.
And the
Yeah.
chief knows about it.
Okay.
He was more concerned about the house,
Well,
with
yeah.
Electricity,
which
yeah.
is another issue. It's
Big
a
issue.
hazard in many ways, but. So, you might start with the administrators upstairs, let's see what they say.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? No? So next on the agenda is, the motion to, go into non-public session. I'll make a motion that we go into non-public session under the 91A clause for exemptions for employee-related matters.
Mhm.
Second.
It's a roll call vote, how do you vote, Nancy?
Aye.
How do you vote, Wood?
Aye.
And I vote aye also.
Okay.
Thanks, Ethan. Come in.
And do you guys have a key to lock up, or should I hang out until you're all done?
We don't have a key.
Okay, I will hang out until you're done.
They,
They lock up.
the
They
Madison
can-
TV usually has a key.
Yeah, I am
Oh, you-
Madison TV.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so I was,
The chief is supposed to come back at 10. So
I'll hang out until someone shows
if
up.
he doesn't come back, I'm gonna go upstairs and have them come down and lock it so that you
You
don't.
can't lock it from the inside?
Okay. Not get out, because it's a deadbolt.
No, I mean, you leave and can I